So I've been watching what's happening in Florida, and it looks really, really bad. Yeah, I, I, I don't know what to say other than the fact that Florida is a huge amount of area, and it was very, looked very good, and it looked like a nice place that you would want to live. And I feel like this storm and last year's and the years before that, I think Ian 2 years ago, and then there was another one last year. Both of them brought in floodings. Uh, it's really confusing when it comes to these storms because I swear each time they say, oh, this is the fifth worst, and then this is the third worst, and then they start like changing the narrative, changing the story, and it's just like, oh, it's the worst in Florida. But and then every time I see where they have the charts and they seem to show this one was this and this one's, it seems to be all different. I mean, maybe some of them was like which one brought in the highest storm surge, which one brought in the most rain, which one had the highest low pressure or the lowest low pressure, which one had the most what other different variables, which one was the widest inside. Maybe this is what it is. And because I swear every time they show a different chart, I see a different set of names. I'm trying to work out, like, is this the worst that's hit? And I don't believe it's the worst, because they keep changing it and saying, like, this is the worst this year or something. Like they would change it, and then they would show all the other ones, and then Rita was bad. But I swear all the dates change. Like sometimes they're saying, oh, this is the fourth, but I think it's because there's lots of different most amount of destruction as well, which ones cause the most amount of damage. And I don't know, but this one looks really, really bad. And so did Helen, though. That's the thing. And it's making me feel like a lot of people are going to not want to invest in Florida because of because this is going to be happening every year. I mean, if the reason why this has happened is because the sea waters are 2 degrees warmer than they usually are, which is what they're saying, it's that's not going to be different next year. I mean, next year it might even be warmer, and therefore it might be worse. And it's global warming is causing this. Global warming is the reason why sea temperatures are higher than normal. And if the reason why these things are so bad is because the waters are getting warmer and warmer, all these people are horrified at how awful this is, and yet, do you know what their first reaction is? Quick, get the fuel, get the power, get the generators, so we can load up our cars, go and burn more gas. And it's just like, well, if the reason why these hurricanes are happening is because people are burning lots of gas and warming up the atmosphere, choking up there's a layer on the surface, on the outer ring of Earth, that is where all the gases collect up to. When you burn when you burn gas and burn petrol, it goes up into the atmosphere, and it creates a layer, like a warm layer, like a duvet cover. So you have like a duvet cover around the outside of the Earth, and the more gas and stuff you put up there, the better Earth can keep in heat. It's like having a duvet. If you've got one duvet, you'll probably get kind of cold. If you have 2 duvets, well, you'll be able to stay. That's why I have 2 duvets on my bed, because I like staying warm. But yeah, Earth should not start heating up too much, because I mean, it's great for England. I'm living in England, and I'm noticing that I can actually wear Halloween costumes on Halloween, which when I was a child, I remember like just being really, really cold. That if I was to do trick-or-treating, I would like wear a coat, and then as soon as I get to the door, just quickly take the coat off, go to the door, and then run back, get back into the coat. That's how cold Halloweens were. And I can walk around in a strap top, and this house is, I have not got the heating on, and I can still walk around in the strap top, providing the sun is coming through the window. And this is October the 10th, and okay, I'm mostly wearing this, but this is still thin. I swear things are Earth is definitely heating up, which is great for England, but it's not good for the tropics and things like this, and therefore when it comes to storms like this, I wouldn't stop them. because they're happening for a reason. They're happening because people are making the duvet cover around the outside of the earth, outside the crust of, not the crust of the earth, the crust of the outer layer, and they're building up lots of gases that are acting like a big duvet cover, and they're heating up earth very quickly. And unfortunately, this is going to get worse. If you stop it 1 year, it's just going to be even worse the next year. You know, this is how the ecosystem works. It works through some sort of computer that's based on physical properties, and heat temperature is just one of these qualities. You know, if you did that same model, only added the fact, say the temperature wasn't 2 degrees higher but 10 degrees higher, or maybe not 10, that would be a while, but another 2 degrees. If you add another 2 degrees onto the sea, try and do the same model and see how much worse things would be. I think that the fact of the matter is this is not a problem that's going to go away. It's not just, oh, it's a once in a lifetime hurricane. I feel like if it's happening because the sea waters are increasing in temperature, then this is not going to be a once in a lifetime experience. Might be for the north. I'm hoping it is for the north. In the, you know, hurricanes don't usually go that far north. And therefore it might be once in a lifetime for up in the mountains. But at the same time, if the reason why people are living in the mountains, if the reason why these things are happening is because of gas being exposed, pushed into the air, living up into the mountains is actually, these people who live in the mountains are actually creating a lot of gas, because if they want to go to the local shop or to the big shop, they have a long journey to go because they have all these windy, stretchy roads, and because you've chosen to live kind of in the middle of nowhere. You know, every time you want to go to the shops or the doctors or the GP or the chemist, you know, you're going to have to, or to clients or to work, you know, you're going to have to burn a lot of fuel and a lot of gas. And I feel like if I was to say why I think this is happening, I think it's because of all the cars that are burning fossil fuels into the air, and it's heating up the temperature, which is great if you live in England, but it's not good if you live in these places, because hurricanes form, and there's going to be lots more droughts and lot more places that are uninhabitable. Now you can say that this is awful, these people are going to come back, like these people might come back and find that there's no home to come back to. But how much worse would it be when you die and realise that there's no bodies to come back to, that the human species is dying through all this? I mean, I don't think the human species is going to die quickly, because you're obviously populating you're obviously very good at populating and having more and more babies. But yeah, the quality of the lives are going to get worse. You know, everyone in Florida is now going to be at least 100 grand poorer, because their houses are going to be either gone or worth a lot less, and businesses are going to be a lot less. Although to build up houses, you'll need to create businesses to make the materials for buildings. But if people aren't willing to invest in their buildings because they think they're going to be just destroyed the following year or the year after that, then there is, even though there'll be lots and lots and lots of work to get the city up to scratch, there'd be also a lot of people probably saying, right, I want to move out of Florida, and this is going to increase house prices elsewhere. But if California and stuff are having a water problem, as in not getting enough water, having a few million extra people up in these areas, you know, might not be the best idea for them. So yeah, I think people are definitely going to start moving and immigrating more north in these districts and stuff. You know, I would love to live in Florida, but I would love a really nice house, and I'd also love to know that the house would still be existing in 10 years. And I feel like with what I'm seeing, it's the chance of a nice house surviving 10 years actually seems pretty small, because of the rising sea waters and the worse these are, and the more frequent as well. You know, that you're supposed to be going through the alphabet, and yet even though there's only 2 weeks between Helen and Milton, you've got H, IJKLM. So has there been 5 hurricanes between Helen and Milton? Even though there's, are you? How do you do this? I thought you go through the alphabet. You know, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and you make a name for each one. So has there really been 5 hurricanes since in 2 weeks? Why have you gone from H to M? I'm a bit confused about that. Um, and you know, surely it would be HL. So this should be something Doral or something. I don't know. Why has there been 5? Has there been 5? And, you know, it's making me wonder. Or I guess these could be in that big stretch of water. There's a huge amount of earth that's just water and stuff. But yeah, it's going to, this is going to cause problems, and it's not going to get better. And I know I would want to invest in Florida because I think it's a really nice place. But at the same time, you don't want to invest too much. If you know, even these tornadoes that are being created, you know, they could land anywhere. Even if you spend £1 million building a really nice house, you know, if you're unlucky enough to hit one of those tornadoes, however great and good the structure is, it could be gone. Like that's a very scary thought. And yeah, I don't really know what to say, but I feel like it's happening because there's too many people burning cars, and you know what's going on in the Middle East. You know, there's a lot of funding towards these wars and stuff, but these wars are keeping people in the Middle East poor, which is bad. But if these people in the Middle East were rich, do you know what they'd be doing? They'd be chopping down trees, they'd be making nice houses using lots of wood, and they'd be driving lots more cars or nicer cars, or they'd be burning a lot more fossil fuels, they'd be driving a lot more, and this would add to more pressure. So keeping people poor is bad, but it's good because it means that they don't burn as much fuels, they don't waste as much things. I mean, how many wastage is there? I noticed there was a lot of stuff that was being put out on the streets. Like, how much of this could be reused? Like, there were some cupboards and stuff. Okay, they might have dampness, but I'm sure there's ways of fixing it. You know, if a car has been flooded, you'd have to take the engine apart and clean all the bits and stuff, but can't you do that? Is that what you're doing? You're not just taking it to the tip and just buying a new car, are you? I mean, that's how much wastage is there going to be on this? Are people going to start reusing stuff? You know, even some of the sofas, even though it got completely drenched out, you know, I'm sure there's ways of drying it and resewing it. You know, how much of this stuff can be reused? And if people are just putting it in the trash and then scooping it up with a big machine and then dumping it, you know, it's going to get more and more damaged the more you move it about. So how much of these things that they're throwing away could have actually been saved and reused? And you know, some of the wood even might be reused for other things. I don't know what's it, but I feel like there's so much wastage, and that's, if these people are going to be if a lot of people have lost everything, to think that there's going to be a lot of people who haven't lost everything but are still happy to waste so much, I think that's a bit inconsiderate. On, you know, there's some houses that have fallen apart, but if you take like 3 broken houses, can you actually take the bits that are salvageable and rebuild a new house using, you know, bits that have been, you know, say one window smashed but another window hasn't smashed. If you take all the windows that haven't smashed, can you like refit them? Can you reuse them? Can you recycle them? I think people are going to have to start doing that, because there's going to be a lot of shortage supplies, because they're going to have to, a lot of people are going to want new roofs and stuff, and I don't know, it's a mess, and I think a lot of people are going to be reluctant to want to do it if there's a chance that the same thing could happen next year or the year after. And I don't know, the answer definitely is that the world is dying. You know, it's awful to think that you might not have a home to go back to, you might be now homeless, but I think it'd be worse to know that, you know, reincarnation is the truth. You don't have to believe it or not, but when you die you get a new body. But if in 300 years there are no new bodies because all the areas around the world are like this. If this happens every single year, um, Florida is going to be deemed uninhabitable because no one's going to want to invest in a house that's going to get ruined every single year. Your house would only, if you're making if you're able to make $50,000 a year, you should only, and if your house is highly likely going to be destroyed after a year or two, you should only put £40,000 into that, and you got 10,000 to live off. But you need to think about how much money you're earning, and only spend according to what you're able to earn. But yeah, if this is going to happen every few years, your businesses are going to go, and are you going to, I guess builders will be in business for a very long time. I think there's a certain satisfaction of knowing that if something breaks, you can fix it. I'm not a builder, but seeing people, there was that guy who was out for the generator. His something kept breaking on his roof, and he actually, even though it was really windy, he kept going up there to fix it. But I would like that reassurance of knowing that if something broke in my house, I could go up and fix it. If there was a couple of tiles that flew off, I'd be able to go and pick them, retrieve them, and then go and stick them back on. I don't know how any of this building works. No, I don't know how to build buildings, or if a flood came in, would I know how to strip a wall back down to the roots and stick plasterboard back on? I mean, I guess these are all skills that they're learning because they're doing it every year. I'm sure you could always look at neighbours to see what they're doing and stuff, but there's a certain gratification of knowing that if walls do start getting damp, you could easily take them off and then put them back on. I haven't done any building work, but plastering probably is actually an easy job if you just learn the skill. So I guess these people are getting smarter in when it comes to the skills that they're learning to make their own houses, which is a really good thing. Schooling and school education just seems absolutely pointless compared to housing. Learning how to paste and put on walls and fix a leak in the roof, put on guttering. I think these skills are so much more valuable than anything you can learn in a school. And so I don't understand why schooling systems are not teaching this. That could be one thing that you could change for the changing environments. If people's houses are going to be destroyed on a regular basis, stop teaching kids how to learn pi and stupid math stuff. This doesn't make any sense. Unless you want to be a mathematician, there's no point of learning all this. As long as you know how to count money, speak English, read road signs, and build houses. I think if education was more about how to make houses and how to fix houses, if schools could teach people basics on what's safe and what's not safe, or how to fix houses after a flood. I think if schools learned that, then that would help, or learn about structure on how to build houses that don't fall apart in these kind of conditions. I don't know what's the answer, but in a way I feel like the answer is not invest too much in Florida, because it's going to put you in debt. And if you've got £300,000 mortgage and your house is gone, the mortgage company is probably going to be the one that loses out, because they're just going to be like, right, I've given up. You can have the money that I put in for the I don't know, would it get carried on? Say if you say that the house is gone, the bank can have it, but they say that the house is now worth nothing because there's nothing on it. Does the bank take it over, and then do you still have that? Do you still carry on that debt even if you went on to buy another house in a different location? I don't know how these things work, but this kind of stuff is going to be putting the country in trillions and trillions of debt, because people are putting huge amounts of money into houses that are just falling apart because of the weather conditions, and it's a very serious issue. And I know they're angry about all the money that's going on war, but the money that's going on war is actually going to kill people. And if the reason why these things are happening is because there's too many people on Earth, then it's probably a good investment to put money into reducing the population, because these things are going to get worse. The more fuels that you burn, the more heat you put into the atmosphere, the bigger the duvet cover gets, and the hotter the waters are going to be, and the worse the storms are going to be. And it's bad, but it would be worse if when you die you realise that you can't be reincarnated again, because and also it's if you can only invest a small amount into these houses, then the whole land is going to be inhabitable, and people are going to have to start moving north, and the areas that are habitable are going to be far more cluttered, and houses are going to be smaller, and people are going to be living in smaller and smaller places and having worse quality lives. Humans are a cancer, they really are, and that the more the humans grow, the more the cancer grows, and the more the cancer grows, the worse, the more the earth falls apart, and the worse the lives people have. And